welcome to the Board of Education reorganizational meeting. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance by our new board member, Zach Armstrong, and returning board member, Ed Beatty.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are going to start with the appointment of my position, and I will ask if someone would like to make a motion to appoint me as the district clerk.
I would like to make that motion, please.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, can we take a vote then? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes 7-0 then. Next, we will swear in our newest board member, Zachary Armstrong. Stand right here. Raise your right hand. I, Zachary Armstrong,
I, Zachary Armstrong,
do solemnly swear
that
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of school board trustee. And that I will
I will
faithfully
faithfully
discharge
discharge
the duties of school board trustee
the duties of school board trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I, Edmund Begant,
I, Edmund Bedient,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of school board trustee
the duties of school board trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
You should have memorized them.
Okay, now we will swear in our ex officio student board members. We will start with, let's start with Charlotte. Okay. I, Charlotte Stewes,
I, Charlotte Stewes,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of ex officio student board member.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of ex officio
Student board member, according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, Cal, would you like to come up? Raise your right hand. I, Cal Carlson,
I, Cal Carlson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of ex officio student board member
ex officio student board member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
And Ryan? Ryan, raise your I, Ryan Simpson,
I, Ryan Simpson,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
alternate ex officio student board member
alternate ex officio student board
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Brian? Oh, Adam, I'm sorry. It's okay. Okay. I, Adam Scripsa,
I, Adam Scripsa,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
alternate ex officio student board member
alternate ex officio student board member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
You definitely practiced that.
Better than me.
Okay, next on our agenda is the election of our school board president. I'd like to open up the floor for any nominations.
I'd love to nominate myself,
Okay.
if that's acceptable.
And do I have a second for that nomination?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay. Do we have any other nominations for board president? Okay, then we will take a vote, and we will go around. Or, yeah, so poll vote, yea or nay, yes, yes.
Or abstain.
So we're voting for Ed Bedient for board president. Okay?
Okay.
Yay. Yay. Yay.
Okay.
I say yea too.
Okay, so that passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
I am obedient.
I, Edmund Bedient,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of school board president
the duties of school board president
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
And then I will be taking nominations for vice president. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Marla.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, are there any other nominations for vice president?
I would like to nominate Laura.
Okay. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, we will do a roll call vote then. First, we'll start with, I go one by one, right? Okay. First, we'll start with voting for Marla for vice president.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Nay.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Nay.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay. So, with that vote, Marla will be our vice president. Congratulations.
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of School Board Vice President
the duties of School Board Vice President
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Now, I will swear in Dr. Kruger. I, Dr. Lisa Kruger,
I, Dr. Lisa Kruger,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of school superintendent
the duties of school superintendent
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
I will now turn the meeting with you.
Do I get the red agenda?
She has already been sworn in,
Okay.
so just need to make her.
Okay. Is that a roll call vote or?
No.
Okay. May I have a motion on 3B, the appointment of the claims auditor, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the claims auditor. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Lorraine? Any discussion on the matter? I'll give Jeremy. Jeremy, is this related to that? Let me give you guys a second. I just didn't know if he was looking to have any discussion on
No, I was
anything.
just helping out.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Great. Any other discussion on the matter? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay, so we'll just go on. We're not going to vote on her presentation? Okay. So we don't have to vote on her presentation today, so I'll hand it over to Lisa.
That's a good thing.
I'll get this right.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to share my superintendent's report with the Board of Education and the public. I would like to start by giving an update regarding the distraction-free learning environment. This is otherwise known as the cell phone ban that is coming to a school near you come the start of the school year. And we have had a group of stakeholders that have been working and met twice before school concluded to work on the implementation plan and our policy regarding this state law that goes into effect. And I've just highlighted a few things here regarding the requirements, which does require our school district to have a policy in place by August 1st to support the law, which is known as the Distraction-Free Learning Environment Law. In order to adopt that policy, we first had to have collaboration with stakeholders. So as I mentioned, over the course of 2 meetings, we had input from teachers, administrators, staff members, and also I had 2 meetings with student groups, a student group at East Senior and at West Senior, to get feedback from stakeholder groups. We also had a survey that went out to families to give families an opportunity to have input in this process. And that feedback, as I've summarized here, was through meetings with our union leadership, student leaders, and the parent and guardian survey that we conducted in early June. In addition, we had our code of conduct, which needed to be revised to be in alignment with this new change. And at our last board meeting on June 17th, we had an overview of the revisions to that code of conduct. The code of conduct is now available for public comment. We must make that available for 30 days for public comment before the board would actually adopt those policy revisions or the revisions to that code of conduct. So some highlights that I wanted to share, which is feedback from the stakeholder group. Really, the implementation plan of this is the lion's share of the work that lies ahead of us. Going from high schools where students have had access during the instructional day to use their personal electronic devices to now going in accordance with what the law requires. So in meeting with our stakeholder groups and ensuring that we had consistent practices by level, that all of our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our high schools were all approaching this policy the same way, we developed recommendations regarding that. And so the outcome of that from that stakeholder group is that devices will be off and away for the day at the elementary level. In particular, at the elementary level, we're really going to be encouraging parents of pre-K to second grade students to leave their devices home for the day. The risk of lost, damaged, stolen personal electronic devices when they cannot use them during the day and likely are not going home to a latchkey situation where they're going home and there's no adult waiting for them. We really feel that it's in the best interest of those young children not to even bring devices to school, so that is going to be our recommendation and encouragement to families, is to encourage them to leave their devices at home in the youngest grades. But if a student does bring a device, it will be off and stored away for the day, for the entire instructional day, which really means from the start of when instruction begins until school is dismissed. At the middle school, it's really no change of practice or procedure. Our middle school currently has had the practice and policy of off and away for the day, with students storing their personal electronic devices in their locked lockers throughout the day. That policy is going to be extended now to the high school level. So off and away for their day at the high school level. And I just want to give some context to some of the discussion that the stakeholder group had. We did give consideration to lockable pouches and lockable storage devices. And truly, what the feedback from that group, the majority of the group, was that that's an added cost and expense to taxpayers, whether it's out of our local tax base or whether it's funds that are available from New York State. At the end of the day, we as New York State residents would be paying for that lockable personal storage device. And really, the question that was asked is, why would we need to purchase a lockable storage device when every student is assigned their own personal lockable device, which is known as their locker. Since COVID, students haven't widely always used their locker, but every student is assigned a locker, and so the encouragement of using their locker and expectation that that is where their device is stored and locked during the day will be something that we'll be communicating to families and students throughout this summer. Our principals will be sharing that in orientations and welcome back communications that they have with families, so that all families and students are aware of this change, which will go into effect in the fall. We also had extensive conversation around, well, what will happen when students will inevitably maybe try to test the limits or may make a mistake in this regard? How will we handle a first offense versus a repeated offense, a second, third, fourth, so on offense? And so this will be a consistent practice from pre-K to 12 in our handling of it, with some nuances that I'll describe. For example, we don't have detention at the elementary level, but we do have lunch detentions, where instead of having lunch in the cafeteria with their peers, a student may have lunch in the main office, is an example of a lunch detention. So there's some minor nuances by level, but overall this will be the standard practice that we will enact when we have students who may violate the policy. One thing that I will say is that there was a real sense from the group, as we want to educate our students and our parents and trust that our students will do the right thing. The vast majority of our students do adhere to school expectations and follow school rules. But when we have students that choose not to follow the rules, to have reasonable and appropriate consequences. And so at the first offense, it would be a verbal warning and a phone call home. If there's a second offense, there would be a detention assigned and a phone call home. A third offense would result in 2 detentions, phone call home, and the parent would then be required to come into school to pick up the device. If we have a fourth offense, so you can see that the consequences are escalating with each offense. If we have a fourth offense, that's a student really showing us that they are having difficulty with self-control and difficulty managing this policy and this rule. They may have a cell phone addiction that we need to give them support for. And they're demonstrating after 3 offenses that they really don't have the self-control to self-monitor and self-regulate this. At that point, at a fourth offense, it would be the following or the preceding consequences, but in addition, the device would be stored daily in the main office for a period of 10 weeks. So the student would start their day by doing a check-in at the main office, have their phone or personal device turned off, turn that over to the main office, who would leave it in the off position. We don't have, of course, students' passcodes to be able to get into devices and have no desire to do so. So the device would be off and stored in the main office, and then at the end of the instructional day, the student would stop by the main office to pick up the device. So again, a higher level of oversight is clearly needed if a student has a fourth offense. At a fifth offense, the phone would be maintained for the remainder of the school year in the main office, because a student is showing that not even a 10-week consequence or intervention is not enough to support them if we get to that fifth offense. And I would say that those are the general and standard practices. We will, of course, have nuances. If we have a parent who does not have the ability to come to school, we will work with individual parents to meet their needs. But this is the structure that we've put in place. At the bottom, I have noted, and this is in the New York State law, that students cannot be suspended from school solely for the use of their cell phone. So if a phone is on and out during the day, that cannot result in a suspension. However, if a student is non-compliant or demonstrates insubordination, so for example, an adult directs the child, turn your phone off and put it away, and if a student refuses to do so, well, now we're talking about insubordination as opposed to a cell phone violation. So insubordination could result potentially in an in-school suspension or a school suspension, but not for a cell phone violation in and of itself. So this is a progressive discipline model that our team has developed and will be enacting in the fall. We'll be communicating this, of course, to students as we have our code of conduct assemblies and things that we have for back to school. But in addition to that, we've developed a communication plan because we want to be very open and clear as to what these expectations are. So principals will be communicating through their orientations, things like 6th grade orientation, freshman orientation, and in all of their back to school communications or newsletters that they have to families. I will be communicating this and have already written the communication that will be in the insert of our district calendar, where we have a lot of our required notifications that are shared with our residents and with parents. In addition, information must be available on our website. That is one of the requirements of the law. I've been discussing this now at 3 board meetings. This is the 3rd board meeting where I've discussed this, and we'll of course give you an update in July and August so that we are trying to be proactive in sharing this information publicly. And then email communications that we send directly to our parents and guardians. We have already sent 1 email communication regarding this to families. We have another that is scheduled to go tomorrow, July 2nd at 4:30, and we will again communicate this information in August to families so that families are hearing directly from me, so that we're ensuring K-12 communication, but in addition to that, communication that's occurring from the building level. The last thing that I just wanted to share with the board, and then I'll offer if you have any questions or feedback on this, is that we intend to have a status check, a planned check-in as to how are these practices and procedures working, what's working well, do we need to make any adjustments or tweaks. And we timed that to ensure that it wasn't the second week of school. We anticipate there may be some growing pains and adjustments to this the first weeks of school, and anticipated that by waiting 6 to 8 weeks into the school year, we've allowed time for the dust to settle, for students to test the system and push the envelope because they may be tempted to do so, and for us to demonstrate our consistency in the practices and the upholding of these expectations, which we do expect that our faculty, staff, and administrators will be consistently enforcing this. But to have a check-in on October 28th, we've already scheduled that date and time so that all stakeholders were aware of that. And we will, as I mentioned, take time to hear what's working well, do we need to make any adjustments, and then we will consider any adjustments that may need to be made at that time. Okay, so now, my favorite part of my superintendent's report, where we get to celebrate the great work that's happening in our schools. I wanted to highlight this beautiful mural that was done. Photoed here are 3 art students from West Senior and West Senior art teacher Chris Galley, who volunteered their time and created this mural at the West Seneca Police Department. So that was entirely done by our students, and they volunteered their time to do so. It's beautiful. I'm sure you've had the opportunity to see it in person.
Saw it in all stages of it being done. It was great.
Where is it when you walk
Right
in
outside
the
the
lab?
chief's office.
Oh, okay.
I also wanted to thank the board for their support and attendance at our graduation ceremonies. On June 23rd, we had West Seniors graduation ceremony, and on June 24th, we had East Seniors graduation ceremony, which is just the highlight of our year. And I think as educators, I've been joking that this is the Super Bowl of educators when we get to really celebrate the hard work and efforts of 13 plus years. It's a beautiful event. Both ceremonies were wonderful, with the infusion of music and student recognition, everything that a graduation ceremony should be. So my pleasure to highlight those events and to thank you for your attendance at our graduation ceremonies. I just wanted to highlight some upcoming meetings and events. It's a little bit more quiet during the school year than normally we have many events that we have going on during the school year, but the summer's a bit more quiet, but we do have some things that I wanted to make sure were brought to your attention. We have a work session on July 22nd, a board meeting on August 5th, a board work session on August 19th. We will be hosting our New Teacher Academy, which is a 3-day experience for all of our new teachers that are joining the district in late August. And then I would welcome all of our board members to join us on the morning of August 26th. We will be assembling for our opening day assembly for faculty, staff, and administrators. So this is the first day back for all of our employees and our 10-month employees. And then the first student day back is September 2nd. Those are all of my updates and report to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or anything?
I do have a couple of questions. And not to get nitpicky about the high school students with lockers, and I know you said everybody's assigned a locker. Historically, the students typically don't use their lockers. I know teachers don't want to be policing this. They're there to teach, not to worry about cell phones. So, like, book bags aren't going to be checked when they're walking into classrooms. If the teacher doesn't see the cell phone is assumed to be in the locker. Is
Correct.
that the understanding? Okay.
Yes.
And then the only other thing with when they're stored, if anybody gets to that 4th offense where they're stored in the office, I think it would just be really pertinent for the administrators on that opening day to give a detailed explanation of how they'll be stored, how they'll be labeled, where they will be, just so no mishaps happen with the phones.
That's a great follow-up point to be able to share, and I'll share with the board as well. Most students, I assume, have passcodes to protect their privacy on their device, and I would encourage anyone to have a passcode on their device. But to ensure student privacy, a very simple action that we intend to take is when we do need to hold a student's cell phone in the main office, we can put that in a sealed envelope that the student signs their name across the seal of the envelope. That may help a student to feel more comfortable that the cell phone is now in our possession, but we have no intention or desire to be checking out a student's online activity or what they're doing on their cell phone. But even when a cell phone is off and needs a passcode, there could be notifications that come through potentially if it's not fully powered down. So we would store it in the main office in a sealed envelope that is signed with a student's signature across the seal, and they can open the envelope at the end of the day. That is a very low-cost solution compared to what some of the locking pouches go for, which are in the range of $25 to $35. And we contemplated, should we just have some lockable pouches in the main office for students who get to that threshold so that it's locked and put away in the main office, and really determined that at this point, we don't want to make that investment, but instead use envelopes that it can be sealed in to store during the day. And if we find when we regroup on October 28th that for whatever reason this may not be working, we're not opposed to exploring other solutions, but really wanted to start in a reasonable and responsible way with a very minimal cost. Should be easy to implement because everyone is already assigned a locker. We do need to get them in the habit of using it again because some students do not regularly use their locker. Any other feedback or questions regarding that?
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to come up to speak? I do not believe there's anyone on the sheet. I got my glasses on, I can see it from here. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come up and speak? Okay, well, I don't have to read the paragraph then. We will move on to our consent agenda. I'll give everyone a moment to kind of look through it, as we do not have discussion on it, but we'll be looking for a motion on 7 through 10. A lot of stuff in there, a lot of good stuff.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Make a
I'll
mo-
second.
Laura, a second. Make a motion to approve consent agenda. Laura, second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 6-0 with Zach on a brief break.
And Mr. Beatty, I believe we do have some individuals in attendance that were just appointed.
Excellent. I'll hand it over back to you then.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Dr. Cervoni up. The board just took action on some personnel appointments, and we have some special individuals in attendance tonight that we would like to recognize. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Cervoni, and if we could pull up the personnel recognition slides, that would be appreciated.
Good morning, or good evening. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'd like to recognize all people that were appointed tonight and congratulate to our new board members and officers. I know of at least one member that is present today rejoining the team, and that is Dan Cantafio. Dan, welcome back to West Seneca. Congratulations, and yeah, thank you. My understanding is that no one else was in attendance, but did I miss someone inadvertently? If so, please stand and be recognized. I'm sure they're watching at home, so congratulations and welcome to West Seneca. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 11. May I have a motion on 11, please?
I'll make a motion to approve 11.
I have a motion to approve. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Maureen, second. Any discussion?
Is this position one of the ones we just appointed? Do we know?
creation of the elementary position?
Yes, that or the next one, which is the bus washers.
No, I don't believe those were ones we just appointed. These would be creation of new positions.
I would just ask, like we did last year, if it is something that is being created and they're being appointed, we just do that before the consent agenda.
Creation before, that makes sense.
Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 7-0. On number 12, may I have a motion for number 12, please? I'll make the motion to approve number 12.
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion on 12? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 7-0. Move on to number 13. May I have a motion for all of 13? I will give you a second to dig through real quick if you want to look through. No rush on that.
I'll make a motion to approve 13.
Laura, motion to approve 13. May I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Maureen, second. Any discussion on anything in 13? All in favor?
Sorry,
Oh,
do
go
we
ahead.
need to discuss the appointment of the Erie County Association of School Boards and committees? Is that part of 13?
I don't think it is.
Is that, oh, that's 14. I'm sorry, I skipped ahead.
No problem. Any other discussion on 13? Anyone? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Gotcha. Pass 6-0 with one abstention. Okay, we'll move on to 14. Going to go for a motion on all of 14.
Let's break it up.
Break it up, okay. Do you want to break it up any particular order? Or I may just start with
Start with A and work your way down.
A and work my way down. Great. May I have a motion on 14A, please?
I'll make a motion on 14A.
Laureen? May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Laura, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Passes 7-0. How about 14B? May I have a
I'll make a motion to
Motion.
approve 14B.
on 14B, please? Sarah?
I'll second.
Marla? Okay, any discussion on 14B? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, passes 7-0. If I can have a motion on 14C, please.
I'll make a motion to approve 14C.
Sarah? Laura? Any discussion on 14C?
Yeah, I would just like to bring up first, I'd like to thank Mr. Steele for sticking around to help out and train somebody new. However, I feel when somebody retires, they should come back at a per diem rate and not have the benefits package attached to it. And it shouldn't be an 18-month term, it should be done in 6-month increments, and we can extend it if needed.
Okay. Anyone else? I appreciate that. Anyone else have any comments or questions or anything? Discussion on it? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Passes 5-2. We'll move on to 14D. If I can have a motion on 14D, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Laura, motion to approve 14D. Marla, second. Any discussion on 14D?
And this is nothing personal. I think Dr. Kruger is doing a phenomenal job. I just feel health insurance and retirement is something you get for devoting at least 20 years of service. However, I understand with being an administrator in a school district, you're most likely going to move district to district in order to kind of get to the top. However, I still feel at least 10 years here would be a reasonable amount of time to gain the health insurance in retirement.
Okay, understood. Thank you for your words. Anyone else have any discussion on the matter or questions? May I do all in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Passes 7-0 or abstaining? Abstaining? Okay, passes 5-1 with one abstention. Thank you. We will move on to 14E. May I have a motion on 14E, please?
I'll make a motion to approve 14E.
Laura. And I'm going to
second
guess
it.
Maureen. Okay, any discussion on 14E?
I'll just add in, got a lot to say
Hey,
tonight,
you
sorry.
know what? Everyone has the right to speak.
I'd like to thank both the district and the union for coming to the agreement. However, in the future, I think we need to work on eliminating some of those lower steps just because the pay is rather low and recruitment is just going to continue to be a difficult thing. So even if we eliminated some bottom ones and added it back at the back end at a higher rate, I think that's something that's going to be beneficial for both sides.
Excellent.
That's really appropriate feedback. I would just share with the group, in case the board isn't aware, we do have the ability, based on experience, to hire beyond the first step. In the contract, we can hire up to step 5. So there are instances, particularly with positions that are hard to find and hard to fill, where we may not offer a candidate that initial starting step and starting salary, but can go up to step 5, which does allow us to be a bit more competitive, but I appreciate your perspective.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, perspectives? Good? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 7-0. Move on to 14F. I think you know what I'm going to ask for now. Motion to approve, in case you're wondering.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion to approve 14F.
I'll second.
Maureen?
Marla has it.
Marla? Second Marla. Any discussion on 14F? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 7-0. How about a motion on 14G? I'll make a motion on 14G. Okay, may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
All right, great. Any discussion on 14G? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Thank you. Passes 6-0 with one abstention. How about 14H?
Make a motion to approve 14H.
Sarah, thank you.
I'll second.
Laura, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No, passes 7-0. How about 14I?
I'll make the motion to pass 14I.
Maureen, motion to pass 14I.
I'll second it.
Jeremy, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or not interested? Okay. Passes 7-0. 14J. May I have a motion on 14J, please?
I'll make a motion to approve 14J.
Yeah, motion to approve. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Maureen, any discussion? This is our membership in the Erie County Association of School Boards. Any discussion on them other than, good job, guys? We like them? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
And I'm good with the rest if you want to, unless somebody else has.
We're going to have discussion anyway on L, so we might as well.
Yeah, we'll just knock out the last couple. So I did not do K yet. May I have a motion on 14K?
Make the motion to approve 14K.
Sarah. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Laura. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, passes 7-0. If I can have a motion on 14L.
I'll make a motion, but I think we have a lot of
I was
discussion
gonna say we can
to fill the roles.
Sure. You'll make the motion, may I have a second?
second.
Second, okay. And then discussion on it. So we have a motion to approve and a motion to second. No motion to table or anything. I don't know how liaisons, is that what this is?
Yeah, I think we can discuss.
We have to have one selection and one alternate for everything.
Yeah, so how do we want to handle that? To approve it, we have to select it, I'm assuming. So do we select now, or do we approve the fact that we're going to do it?
I think we can go through now.
Okay. I'm just making sure that that's what you guys want.
Yeah.
I love it, I love it. So we'll just go through, I guess, line by line, and we'll make sure we kind of fill Zach in on, maybe the people who've done it before can, kind of help decide what we're going to do with that. I will start with the Erie County Association of School Boards, the Delegate Assembly.
I'm happy to start with that because I was the primary last year, and I think Laura was the alternate. So this is 3 meetings a year at the Erie County Association of School Boards, and meet with representatives from other districts around the county and discuss a variety of different topics. And the agenda is circulated in advance.
And this is typically held actually right down the road?
Right down the street.
Okay. Anyone interested in performing those duties this year?
I'm happy to continue unless somebody else wants to do that.
Okay. I'll put you down. Okay, anyone interested in serving as Marla's alternate? I'm going to guess, I don't know if the alternate typically would join at the same time ever, or it's just if you can't make it, someone can go?
Either option.
Either
Yeah,
option?
either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to be the alternate, you guys can all work that out. Anyone interested? No one else says, I always throw my hat in the ring for something like that. I don't mind being the seat filler guy. So, interested at all, anyone? Can always change if you don't want. I'll throw my name in. If anyone wants to change out, obviously we can approach that anytime. It's 3 times a year, Marla?
Correct.
Okay,
The dates have already been released as far as direct.
That's
So you can
perfect.
put them all on your calendar.
okay, excellent. How about budget and finance? That again, that's part of the Erie County Association of School Boards. And who served on that last year?
I did.
Sarah?
Yeah,
Did-
so similar to what Marla said, it's 3 or 4 times a year. At the start of the school year, kind of get a feel for where all the districts are, any things we can possibly do to help each other out. I don't mind sitting on that again this year.
So basically, it's like the Budget and Finance Committee for the Association of School Boards, right? Like, it's kind of similar to like we have our budget committee.
It's also, they discuss like school budget issues and trends.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
make recommendations.
Like, what are schools doing with the cell phone? How are you, with
Okay.
the cell phone policy? How are you guys handling it? Thinking of, helping each other to,
So it's just another way of getting good communication
Yeah.
amongst ideas and, all right, that's great. Would anyone like to serve as Sarah's alternate? Anyone? All right. I'll throw my name down as the alternate. Oh, the ultimate alternate, how's that? The alternate, and again, if anyone's interested in stepping up or trying it out, let me know. And then let's hope Marla and Sarah can make most of the meetings. They're not at the same time, right? They're different times?
Yeah, they're.
Okay.
They might be on the
Some
same
of them might be
day.
on the same day, where
Yeah.
they're like, one's at 6 and one's at
Oh,
7:30.
oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
In the same building, though.
Okay. We'll check on those dates too, because if someone's there already.
Yeah.
Okay, how about the legislative team for the Erie County Association of School Boards?
So I'd like to continue that, if nobody else does. But that's another one that met probably 4 or 5 times a year, talking about local policies and state policies that would affect us. Then we also went to Albany to advocate for many laws, including, so last year it was a lot to do with the electronic school buses and certainly the cell phones. So working with our local legislators and local government.
Excellent. So you're throwing your hat in the ring. Is anyone interested? Also, are we going to have Laureen continue on with
She
her?
did such a good job last year.
I actually had You did.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you,
good.
Jeremy.
Did Jeremy say he wanted to be the alternate?
No, I think I did.
Is there anyone else that Jeremy want to be the alternate?
I'm happy to be the alternate.
Okay, Marla? Thank you for not making me put my name in there. Let's see. New York State Association of School Boards, the voting delegate, if I'm not mistaken, we had,
I did that last year as well. So if anybody else is interested, I'm happy to do it, but if someone else wants to this year, that's fine.
now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but that was the one that you did they do in person now, or was it
So-
still online?
It was two very long online sessions. So one that you'll learn about everything and what's coming up and the challenges, and then it was probably about an 8-hour session to go through each thing line by line with every district in the state. And trust me, there was a lot of discussion on everything. So it was quite alarming and certainly lets you know what it must be like to be in Congress. And it's exhausting, but it's good information, good discussion, to really see differences between rural and city and different parts of the state where their thoughts and concerns are. And really what the outcome of that is that is then where efforts are pushed to advocate at the state level for all the schools. So they're really looking to see where they should put their energy behind what we're doing.
And they're typically advocating most often to, say,
The
the
governor.
state level,
Yep.
federal level.
Yep.
That's right, they're not advocating down,
Correct.
the ladder to the
Right.
districts. They're advocating the
The
other
Board of
way.
Education, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
And regions and all of that, yeah.
This is where you came to the board, you brought each of the legislative proposals to the
Yes.
board last year and
Yes.
asked kind of for
We
consensus.
decided
Right.
how we would want to vote as a
Correct.
district.
Yeah,
Yep.
so, you want to do it again?
Yeah, if nobody else
Anyone
wants to, I'm
else
happy to do that
interested?
again.
I mean, remember, she did bring a lot of stuff. And
I will read it again. If you don't read your email, I will read it out loud.
Well, I mean, we'll put you down. And do you need an alternate on that one? Does anyone want to be an alternate? Is
I
that,
don't think that's an alternate position.
no, it's like a one-time thing, right? Either you can do it or you can't. Do you know that you can do it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if the dates were released yet or not. Okay, excellent. How about our school district committees? We'll start with the audit committee.
I'd like to do that.
Laura, on the audit committee, I believe you were on it this year,
Last 2 years, yeah.
last 2 years. And typically, we have up to 3 members. So obviously, it's great when 3 members can make it, but at least everyone has each other's back if they can't. Is anyone here not familiar with the audit committee, want to know what it's about, or is it thinking of
Typically
serving?
meet twice a year with an outside auditor to get information in October of things that are coming, and then usually in May to review where we're at. I think it was very helpful, especially after we had Rick Timms come in and it
Yeah.
made all the pieces kind of fall into place of understanding budget. I would recommend it
Excellent.
if you feel like you want to understand that process better.
Yeah, it's a cool committee. I think it's 2 separate firms too, right? We have 2 different styles of audits. Am I right on that, sir? Yeah, so it's kind of cool having a different, so we'll put you down. We have up to 2 more spots. Is anyone else interested in serving on the audit committee? Anyone? Bueller?
I will.
Sarah? I'm going to guess that Ed's interested. Okay, I will put myself as the 3rd, and again, as things go, if anyone's interested in kind of checking it out, we'll get you in, promise. Okay, how about our Budget Advisory Committee? I will let Maureen speak on this, even though I loved it. You were part of that?
Yeah, we met several times a year with stakeholders from all of the areas, teachers, administration, CSEA, just to make sure that we all had a good idea of what was going on and what the budget would look like, and there'd be no surprises at the end. At least for me, it was a good understanding. There was, great presentations and a great understanding with a deeper dive of why things are the way they are and how they are that way. And yeah, I'm happy to serve on that again.
Excellent. Was there, I don't want to offend anyone, there was just 2 of us, right? Or was there 3?
You and Mark.
Yeah, me and Marla. Is
Yeah,
that what
sorry,
we're going?
Lorraine.
Is that what we're going for, is 2, or we have up to 3?
2 would be fine. We can have up to 3.
Okay,
2 worked well last year, so unless there's a real desire to have a 3rd.
okay. Anyone interested, are you interested again?
Yeah,
Okay.
I nominate Jeremy.
Jeremy, would you be interested?
Sure.
Sure, love it. Anyone else interested for a third or an alternate? I actually really enjoyed coming to this, so if that's okay, may I?
We can have up to 3, sure, no problem.
Excellent. Okay, Facilities Committee. Do we want to speak on that? Who was on the Facilities Committee?
So I'll just speak of what I anticipate for this year. We had gone through our building condition survey. We're now in receipt of the building condition survey, and we'll use that building condition survey to really drive future capital improvement projects. I anticipate that throughout the fall and winter, that the committee will need to meet at least once a month, potentially twice a month, if there's a desire for the committee to visit buildings and to see some of the conditions of the buildings and what's highlighted in the building condition survey. So whereas we heard from some other committees where they might meet 2 or 3 times a year, I anticipate this committee meeting at least once monthly. Realistically, it could be as much as twice monthly. So just in full disclosure there, because there's a substantial amount of work for us to do to really understand the building condition survey and to prepare for the next capital improvement project and ultimately the next vote that goes out to our voters for the much needed renovations and improvements that need to occur in our schools.
So I believe this culminated in that one meeting I attended where it was all half a day of going through the building surveys? Okay.
Yes.
And I'm assuming the meeting times are random at this point because you're doing different things each time?
Right. What I would do for this particular committee is when I understand who the committee members are, is to survey the committee members to get an idea of what time of day or day of the week works best. Certainly our committee is usually comprised of building principals, members of CSEA, such as our custodians who know our buildings inside and out, Mick Barr, our Director of Facilities, board member representatives, myself, and Will Thiel.
Okay, great. So that being said, is anyone interested in serving on the Facilities Committee? Besides me?
I didn't mean to scare anyone off with the meeting frequency. I know you have careers and jobs and you're welcome to attend as you are able to, but I just wanted to be fully transparent about the work that lies ahead for that committee.
So again, we'll get the schedule out and maybe we just invite the board members since there's kind of 2 more spots. And if someone's interested, reach out and...
Yeah, once you get the dates, I can make it, I'd be interested in attending.
And just to be clear, you wanted to do
Yeah,
that?
I would love to. And like I said, what we can do is fold some people in if the dates are workable.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'd say if outside of work day, I'd be interested, but it's hard to get here any earlier than 3:30, so.
Okay. Yeah, again, there may be opportunities for that. I know it changes a lot. I don't know how, I think the last meeting was in the afternoon.
It was.
Yeah, it was good. How about the Policy Committee? I think the Policy Committee met today, right?
I'd like to continue on the policy committee.
Okay. Laura, did I hear? Okay, and you guys want to discuss the Policy Committee, throw out?
If nobody else is, I'll stay as the third one.
Okay.
Did anybody else want policy?
Anyone interested in Policy Committee?
I'd say we meet once a month before the board meeting typically is what's worked for us. We meet from 5 to 6. There's a good amount of work to be done with looking at policy, so but we made a lot of progress in this past year, so I'd like to see that continue.
Yeah. I love the 3 people signed up. It's great. It's important. It's very important. So, is that good? You 3, you're good? Okay. Safety Committee. Everyone know what the Safety Committee is about, or Mr. Maloney, would you like to tell us?
It's about safety.
Okay. There you go. Short, sweet.
Discuss issues in the district or in specific buildings and review different things. We get a lot of help from BOCEs with recommendations. It's really a good time.
I love being part of that. Sir, you're interested? Okay.
I'm automatically there, so.
Okay. I guess technically we would still only want 2 board members, right? If Jeremy's in the room already?
Correct.
Just to be kind of cool, even though
It could
we're
be
not conducting
Jeremy
business.
plus 2 additional board members?
Okay. Well, Jeremy and Zach for sure. I love the Safety Committee. I believe I've been on it for 9 years now, but I have no problem sharing the wealth. Clearly, I enjoy lots of things.
It
so-
was fun, I enjoyed it, but no, go ahead.
No.
Because I figured Zach would want to do that. I'm on other things.
I can
It's
just be an
okay.
alternate.
It's okay.
Are you sure?
Okay. I'm sure. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
How about if I can't go, you cover for me?
There you go.
Or one of us can't go. Okay. So we'll do Zach, Jeremy, and Ed. Special Education Advisory Committee. I apologize, I think you were on that, right?
Yeah.
You want to speak on that?
We only meet really once, maybe twice a year. We revisit all of the special education policy and just general procedures. I find it to be very informative with what's going on in the district, and it's very helpful. It's a very knowledgeable team to talk with about the progress we've made as a district.
Excellent. Is it, do we go with like 1 people, 2 people, 3
Yeah.
people alternate? Like, well, I don't know how big it is.
I would say
You on it?
2 or 3 is helpful because you end up, when we do the actual policy work, we break into groups, and it's kind of nice to have multiple perspectives within those groups.
Okay. And I'm guessing it meets later in the day?
It was like a 3:30 or 4 o'clock meeting. There's a good amount of staff from across the district that's represented, principals,
Teachers,
teachers.
therapists.
Yeah, it was a pretty good sized group.
Awesome. Okay, so I know you guys are interested. Anyone else interested? Zach? Is that good? Anyone want to argue with Zach? No? Perfect. Okay, we'll do the 3 of you guys. Special ed. And then how about the Strategic Planning Committee? I found this to be very enlightening. I joined it near the end. Is this the one that I kind of folded myself into? Probably without you realizing I showed
It
up?
is.
Or- Okay.
You can always invite yourself to the party, Ed. So the Strategic Planning Committee met on a monthly basis throughout this year because we were developing the strategic plan. I'd like to present that and have suggested that I present that to the board this summer, assuming there's no significant changes that the board would suggest to the plan. We would go forth with that plan, which is a 3-year plan, and next year, the Strategic Planning Committee's work would really shift. The plan is written. Now we need to ensure that we're holding ourselves accountable. So those meetings throughout the next year would really be accountability checks. Us coming together, checking in on the progress towards our goal. How are we making progress? In what ways do we need additional support or adjustments? But it's really to keep us accountable for making that forward progress and following through on the action plans that we've outlined so that at the end of the 3 years, we will have made tremendous progress or accomplished our goals. So I anticipate that unlike this year where we met monthly, next year I anticipate we'll have 3 to 4 accountability checks and check-in meetings for the Strategic Planning Committee. So less time intensiveness next school year, excuse
Is
me.
that during the school day or because of who's involved?
I surveyed the group, and they were split between a 9:30 a.m. start time preferred and a 1:30 p.m. start time. We do have student representatives on the group as well, so that made meeting after school challenging for our student representatives, so we alternated between those times. But similarly, I would canvass the group again to try to see what is the preferred time of day for that meeting to occur.
Anyone interested in being involved in that? And I know obviously it could change after your presentation too, so we can always make adjustments.
Sure.
You could pencil me in, but it's just depending on the time of day, it might be tricky, but I'd like to attend if possible.
Okay.
I might be able to scoot out and do it once we know the date.
Maureen, anyone else interested? Obviously, again, once you present, someone else might be like, oh yeah, I want that. I'll throw myself in as the alternate because I was there this year, but I will let you guys take the reins on that. Sorry, sir?
We can have up to 3.
I know. I'm hoping when she presents, someone's like, oh yeah.
I say, once the scheduled dates comes out, that's something I would
Yeah.
absolutely like to be involved in, but it's just very challenging during workday.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to bump me. At some point, I have to go to work. Community Education Committee. That committee is great. So basically, they meet several times a year, depending on how many? You're holding up your hand 15 times? 2 to 3 times a week? Okay. You're committed. So yeah, we meet and discuss the community education things. It's super enlightening if you don't know much about the program, but also it's a very productive meeting. But clearly you've got everything handled, so it's more informative than anything, but it is advisory. Typically evening, or are you looking at a different?
I'm looking to push it earlier in the day to make it more convenient to have other stakeholders.
Sure. Are you thinking pre or post 3:30?
I can do,
Or a variation?
like post 3:30, but not much post.
Okay, like 3:35? Okay. Anyone wants to check it out, even if they can make one of the meetings or something? It's very interesting.
I'd be interested, just depending on the time.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else? Could have
interested.
up to 3? Laura? Sarah? Zach?
What is this?
So this is the Community Education Committee.
What is that?
So you're familiar, you know what, I mean, you're here, do you want to let us, the committee, what we actually do?
Yes, so community education is anything that is paid for in the district, not supported by the taxpayer dollar. So that could be anything for computer lessons for seniors, to swim lessons, to before and after school programs, Regis reviews, anything like that. Our day camps, the summer of the week program, things like that.
Yeah,
Okay, Zach? And you got rid of me finally. If anyone ever can't make it, reach out to me. It's a great committee to be part of. I think you guys will really enjoy this. Okay, we'll move on to, I'm going to guess 14M. I mean, that was a lot.
We didn't vote.
Oh, we didn't vote.
We have the motion, we're going to vote.
That was our discussion, okay. Come on, you can forgive me on this one. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Better not be. Okay, passes 7-0. Thanks, guys. So it looks like 14M.
Do you want to go back to doing grouping them?
We can, yeah, I just want to make sure there's nothing, is yours somewhere else, Marla?
Yeah, mine's 15N.
Okay, so if anyone wants to make a motion on the remaining part of 14, that would be appreciated.
I'll make the motion for the rest of 14.
I'll second it.
Second, any discussion on anything in there?
Just on the calendar, I know we had discussed previously about I believe it's the August 5th meeting, that's National Night Out. I didn't know if we were planning on changing that, or...
I'd be
it
supportive
doesn't-
of the change.
Doesn't affect me much, but I was just curious if we wanted to.
Because you'll be there either way?
No.
Oh, you'll be here.
I would go if I wasn't
Do
here,
we want to pull
but
that out so we can talk about it separately?
Sure, we did acknowledge that there was a conflict on August 5th, but the board hadn't determined whether or not they wanted to shift it. We can push it back a week later to August 12th, if that's preferred. Do you know the time that
I think it's
National...
5 to 9.
Okay.
You know what, hold on, let me just get this. Did I get a motion and a second on 14M, or 14, all of the remaining 14?
Yeah, that includes the calendar though, so we have to either move it out or...
Well, I mean, we're allowed to discuss, it's not consent, so...
Well, we make the motion for M through T.
Because we have a motion on the table for all of 14,
Okay.
so do we want to, we can discuss the calendar thing. This isn't like consent agenda, so let's do all of 14. We have a first and a second. Discussion part is what Jeremy has to say. Are we going to pick a day now, or do we want to just
Just moving it back from the August 12th.
Yeah.
moving it
I'm
back
okay
to
with
August 12th? Okay. So we're having a motion on remaining of 14, and that will also include adjusting from the 5th to the 12th
Of August, yes.
of August. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, passes 6-0. So we did all of 14, now we're going to move on to 15.
For 15, can we pull out 15N?
15N? Yeah, what I can do is, if I can get a motion on, unless someone wants to change it differently, 15A through 15M?
I'll do a motion for 15A through 15M.
15A through 15M.
I'll second.
Second, any discussion on 15A through M? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 7-0. I will take individually. G-K-L-M-N. Let me get to N. May I have a motion on 15N?
I'll make a motion to pass 15N.
Maureen, a motion to approve 15N. May I have a second, please? I'll second it. Ed will second. And any discussion?
I guess this would be a question for Mr. Thiel. Have we ever gone in and tried to negotiate better interest rates on any of our accounts?
You're specifically referring to the accounts that are listed on page 36?
Just any of the accounts in general, basically. I mean, because we usually have a substantial amount of money in there. I know the town recently did that and got a pretty good bump, so I'm just wondering if that's something we've ever thought of doing, just to try to collect a little bit more in interest.
Why don't I take that question back to Will, and we can update you at the next meeting? I'm not sure how frequently the district may have done that in the past and how recently it may have been done, but we can certainly get information and report back to the board on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Any other discussion? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
Abstain.
Passes 6-0 with one abstention. May I have a motion on 15O through R?
I'll make a motion to approve 15O through R.
Motion to approve 15O through R. May I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Jeremy? Okay, any discussion on any of those items? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay, I'm going to shoot for a motion on all of 16. Would anyone like to make a motion on all of 16? If not,
I'll make the motion.
Jeremy?
I'll second.
Laura? Okay, any discussion on any items throughout number 16? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No, we don't typically approve the financial reports. Is there anything different with this being the first meeting or anything? No. Okay, so we will move on to 18, Board of Education discussion. Is anyone, there's really nothing on here to discuss at this point. I know we're just kicking off the year. I'll take a moment, since you guys are the newest members of our Board of Education. Do you guys have anything you want to discuss or throw out there? I mean, I know it's a lot to have thrown at you, your first meeting. It's not typically this much voting on individual things, but thank you for being here. Just know if you guys want to add anything now, since you're part of our board. Thank you for being here.
I do have something related, and welcome to Charlotte and Cal, and also Ryan. I did have something that I wanted our student ex officio board members and our Board of Education to consider. Regularly on our agenda, I have a superintendent's report, the board president has a report, and in some districts that have student ex officio board members, they have a student report. So the students can report out on some of the activities that are going on at their respective high schools. Activities, things that you want the board and the public to be aware of. So if that's something we'd like to consider, we could alter our agendas going forward. Certainly you may not have much to update during the summer, but in the fall, you can let us know of homecoming events and things that are going on in your school if you'd like to have an agenda item, and if the board is agreeable to that, that way. And by all means, you don't have to do the pretty slideshow like I did. You can just come and talk and share some of the events and activities that are going on in your school. But I wanted to see if that's something first that the board is interested in, and if our ex officio student board members are interested.
I would support it. as long as they wanted to, and it's not something you have to do every month. Superintendent usually always has a very nice presentation. The board president sometimes has nothing, so don't think you have to do it every single month, but if it's something you guys were interested in, I think it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we support it, I would personally have one ask. Are we East Senior and West Senior? I'd love it if you guys could collaborate and decide what you're going to do, as opposed, like, I would hate to have one school doing like 15 things and one school nothing. I'd love it if you guys could collaborate and come up with an idea, if you're interested. We're not going to put any pressure on you now.
But it could happen. Homecomings aren't always the same. Proms aren't the same. So
Maybe categories of things they share about or...
Yeah, what I'm asking is just decide as a whole if they want to do it or not, and then go from there. Because, you know.
And it doesn't have to be just yours, like this is the place where you can actually talk with the groups that you're involved with at your school, your administrators, to come up with those points.
Cool. You guys can talk amongst yourselves at some point. You can have your little meeting.
And you're welcome to follow up with me and let me know your feedback if that's something that you're interested in doing. And of course, when there is discussion items, we want your voice and your perspective. That's why you have a seat at the table. Tonight's agenda was not typical. There's a lot of things that we do on an annual basis that we do at this reorganizational meeting. But when we have future discussions, you know, you're here to represent the student body, and we want to ensure that your voice is heard.
Are they involved in any of the committees you already ran last year? Is that how?
So Charlotte was a representative for her school. When I meet with students 3 times a year, I do student luncheons at both East and West High School, and Charlotte participated in that, as did Adam, actually. Yeah.
It might be interesting, too, to get your perspective on some of the committees that we're involved in, too.
Yeah.
We did have students that sat on the strategic planning committee, although they just graduated last week.
Cool. I mean, I know Cal had a lot of interest in our Board of Education trustees credit card limit and stuff, but we already passed by that, sorry. I'm good with it if you guys want to get rolling on that. Is there anything else that we want to discuss as a Board of Education? Sarah? Hello?
I don't know if this is the place or the time, but the number of anonymous letters we're getting with complaints about teachers, coaches, how the schools are run, whatever it may be, not complaining that we're getting the letters, but when it's anonymous, there's very little we can do to help remedy the situation, especially when we don't know if they've already gone up the chain of command. Does the principal know? Have you talked to the coach? Have you talked to the teacher? What steps have you tried to take? Did you get pushback? Did you get help? Like, it's really difficult to assess and help or do anything with the situation when it's anonymous and there's a lack of whether or not it's gone through the chain of command and there's been any progress made there.
Yeah,
so just like for the public to know, like, we appreciate the feedback, but there's very little we can do when we don't have all the facts in front of us. And it's not for us really to do anything, but there's little the superintendent can even do.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for bringing that up. I'm guessing there's a letter in here now that we got, so if I have questions on that, I wouldn't even know where to turn to. I mean, it's a great point.
Exactly. And I don't want these things to feel like they've fallen by the wayside or they're fallen on deaf ears, but you can't do an investigation based on an anonymous reporting. Yeah. And I understand the fear of retaliation, which should never happen in the schools, but I get that it's a real fear.
Might be naive of me to say, but I like to think if someone came to one of us or Dr. Kruger that we can handle it, at least try to help them in a positive way. I've seen nothing but that. I've had people approach me and complaining of like, oh, I don't want to put in contact with whoever they're supposed to put in contact with, and I just got an email 2 weeks ago how happy they were, thank you for helping, and all I did was get them the right name.
Exactly.
So, yeah, exactly. But their problem was solved, and so, yeah, I appreciate it.
But we can't go back to who this is because we don't know who they are with any kind of solution or assistance.
Any other feedback on that? And I'm assuming we each have one? Did you copied it on that, or do we?
I
need
have,
to-
I have not received
Um,
an anonymous
where did
letter
we
this
get it
week
here?
at all.
Did
It was
come-
in our folders.
Okay.
No, I mean, did it, would have come to
It
this?
did come here, which I appreciate them using the district address to address us this time. That feels much more to be an appropriate channel. I'm comfortable with email, I'm comfortable with it coming to a district address on our behalf. We do get things regularly from that, but anonymous to our houses is also a little concerning. Just seems, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'd rather them knock on my door.
I'd rather have a conversation, grocery store, soccer game, where all the places we're at, anonymous letters to the house make me feel uncomfortable.
Okay, if you don't mind me asking, Melissa, when did we get it, do you know? Would it have come to you or someone else?
Those were in the board mailbox, I would say within the last week.
Okay.
And because I don't open it, I just knowing that we have a meeting tonight, put them in your folder.
Thank you.
No, thank you, we appreciate
It is
it.
dated June 9th.
Okay.
The letter itself,
Okay.
but that's all.
Oh, no, I'm like, again, so that's the other thing, is we don't necessarily get mail normally, so it could end up being weeks before we even know about it, so, yeah.
So
Cool.
just anybody out there who's watching, if you have a concern, please bring it to, if you're not comfortable with the whole board, somebody on the board, or, go up the chain of command first. That is always preferred. And
I
then
think that's
if you need
still posted
further
on the
assistance.
website.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
nice
It
chain
is.
of command.
Yeah.
But if they come to us and we need to point them in that direction, we
That's
can.
happy to
absolutely
do
fine,
it, yeah.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
All in favor of that? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up, for real. Any other discussion? Anything?
I just want to thank Zach and our ex officio board members for stepping up to do this. The pay is, I don't even know what to do with all the money we get for being a board member, but
There's snacks.
still waiting on the first check. But
We sent it anonymously.
I do just want to say thanks, because it is a lot of time to invest volunteer work, basically, so.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Well, then we will be done with 18, and we will move on to 19. May I have a motion to go into executive to discuss a contract and employment history of a particular person?
I'll make a motion to go into executive.
Laura, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Sarah, any discussion on the matter? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Passes 7-0. Everyone, thank you for coming tonight. We will technically not close the meeting, but we will not be conducting any more public business afterward. We'll be in executive for a little while, and then we will come out and adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
No, I didn't